You ever been on a roll, just absolutely crushing it, making real progress towards a goal, only to do something that brings it all crashing down? It's that super frustrating, baffling experience of self-sabotage. Well, today, we're going to unravel this whole mystery of why we sometimes become our own worst enemy. Okay, let's dive in. This quote from a Reddit user just nails the feeling, doesn't it? It's like you're in control, but you're steering straight into a wall. And look, this is a super common experience. So if this sounds even a little bit familiar, you are in the right place because we're about to figure out what is really going on here. So yeah, that's the big question, right? Why do we do this? It makes absolutely no sense logically. You work hard for something and then you trip yourself up right at the finish line. To really get it, we've got to look at two things. First, how our brains are wired, and second, the hidden psychological battles that are driving us. So our first clue is actually inside our own heads. See, your brain is, above all, an efficiency machine. It loves taking shortcuts. The problem is, these shortcuts, which are designed to save energy, can sometimes lead us down a completely wrong path. The guys who really pioneered this research, Daniel Kahneman and Amos Tversky, they called these shortcuts cognitive biases. And these aren't just random oopsies. They are predictable, systematic errors in thinking. The best way to think of them is like little glitches in your mental software that are just running quietly in the background all the time. So here's how Kahneman broke it down. Our brain has two operating systems. System two is the conscious, careful, deliberate mind. That's the one you're using right now to focus on this. But the real star of our show today is system one. That's your autopilot. It's fast, it's intuitive, and it handles most of your daily thinking. The catch? It's also kind of lazy and it loves to jump to conclusions. And here are just a few of System 1's greatest hits. It makes hasty conclusions based on like half the story. It's also hardwired to focus way more on the bad stuff than the good stuff, which, was great for our ancestors avoiding tigers, but not so great for your performance review. And crucially, it runs on this principle of what you see is all there is, meaning it makes huge decisions while completely ignoring all the information it doesn't have. Okay, so our brain's autopilot can totally lead us astray, but that's not the whole story, not even close. The next piece of this puzzle involves two really powerful and often clashing forces that shape our ambition and our actions. This right here, this is the tug of war happening inside us. On one side, you've got that powerful drive to succeed, to push forward, to win. And on the other side, you've got this deep, gnawing dread of falling short, of being judged, of just plain failing. How you manage this internal fight, well, that basically defines everything. Now, check this out. This model is a fantastic way to visualize that conflict. It's called the quadrupolar model of achievement motivation. So think of it this way. Across the bottom, on the x-axis, you've got your drive for success, running from low to high. And then up the side, on the y-axis, you've got your fear of failure, also low to high. This grid gives us four basic profiles, which we're going to break down. All right, so let's get into these four types that pop up from this model, because this is where we really start to see the different flavors of self-sabotage take shape. First up, we've got the optimists. Now, these are the folks in a pretty great spot. They have a high drive to succeed, but they have a low fear of failure. So they see a challenge and think opportunity, not threat. This makes them way more adaptive and a lot less anxious. They're driven by a real desire to get better. Next are the overstrivers. They also have that high drive for success, but, and this is a big but, it is coupled with an equally high fear of failure. This combo makes them incredibly self-disciplined, but it comes at a price, a ton of anxiety. They're basically running towards success and away from failure at the exact same time. Okay, now we get to the heart of the matter. Meet these self-protectors. They have a low drive for success, but a paralyzing fear of failure. So what do? They engineer their own excuses. By not trying their hardest, or even by actively creating roadblocks, they protect their ego. That way, if they fail, it wasn't because they weren't smart enough. No, it was because of that thing they did. It's a self-inflicted handicap. And last, we have the failure acceptors. These guys are kind of checked out of the whole game. They have both a low drive for success and a low fear of failure. They're not really in the race, so there's no anxiety about winning or losing. And without that push from ambition or that fear of falling, they tend to have very low self-discipline. Okay, so we've met the four players in this little psychological drama. Now, let's put them all together side by side to see the full picture. This is how we can start to really make sense of our own patterns. This table just lays it all out so clearly. You can really see the trade-offs. Look at the overstrivers. Highest self-discipline, right? But they pay for it with higher anxiety. Then you've got the self-protectors, just maxed out on anxiety, which absolutely tanks their self-discipline. And the optimists seem to find that sweet spot, being adaptive with lower anxiety. You starting to see where you might fit in? So here's the big takeaway. Self-sabotage isn't just you being random or lazy. It's often a logical, if, totally dysfunctional strategy. It's rooted in one of these four deep motivational patterns, especially that of the self-protector, who's way more scared of failing than they are excited to succeed. But look, here is the most important thing to get from all this. Understanding your pattern isn't about putting yourself in a box. It's not a life sentence. It's about giving yourself a map. It's the starting point for self-awareness. So knowing this, what's the first small step you can take to start shifting your own balance between that drive and that dread?